Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the Knit State of Mind podcast. I'm Wanda.
And I'm Heather, and welcome back if you've watched us before, and welcome if it's your first time watching us. We're excited to be back.
Yeah, I can't believe this is our second podcast, and we have some more finished objects and whips prepared for you. Do you have any cross stitch today?
I do have a little bit of cross stitch, some more advent animals. We'll be showing those later.
Wonderful.
But let's get started off with, let's start with what you're wearing first, because everyone wants to know.
So I'm wearing my finished object. This is the Nilly pullover. I was working on it the last time we podcasted, and I finished it about a week ago. It took, I don't know if this is normal, this is my first time knitting with worsted weight, but it took about 3 days to dry. And is that typical? Or
I guess so for wool. I mean, depends on how you were drying it, I guess. Were you laying it flat or over?
I laid it flat, but I may not have squeezed enough water out of it when I first laid it down. But anyway, So Nilly pullover, knit with Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted weight. And so I have 3 colors in here. It's mosaic knit, which is now my favorite way to do color work. Well, actually, the only way I've done color work so far. It has a, what do you call this? I-cord cast on, which was my first time doing the I-cord, and I love the
really
finished
great.
around the collar. I like what you'll notice even with the types of shirts I buy. I like these high neck, what is it, like mock neck sort of, just the collar here.
Yeah.
And let me stand up. You see the bottom,
so great. It's the perfect
it has the, let me see, can you see where it falls? So I think last time I said I like the semi-crop, so it comes down to the waist, but it looks fine with a regular pair of jeans, and the color work continues on the bottom and on the sleeves. So I really enjoyed knitting this sweater. It was written really clearly. The only thing I'll say is that I'm a little muscular, y'all. So the sleeves are a little tight on me. So I think in general, I might have to check the measurements on the sleeve and go up a little bit, maybe the next size up.
Just
whenever,
increase right around the bicep.
Whenever I work my sleeves. But otherwise, I'm happy with it. It's something that I think I'll get a lot of wear out of. I've been trying to be really intentional about the things that I choose to knit for myself and anyone really. I want it to be items that I would like to wear. That's the Nilly pullover.
Beautiful. It fits you perfectly. Does it have the I-cord on the sleeves?
No, it's a regular ribbing and then a regular cast off. So I didn't get to learn how to cast off with I-cord. And casting off with I-cord is a little bit of work, but I think it's worth it.
It's totally worth it. It looks so like professionally finished.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing looks great. It's amazing.
Thank you. And then the color choices too. I think the colors worked out. You helped me texting, and I think I snapshot a bunch of colors for you and my partner too. And so I think this one worked out. It's Christina with the wools. That's the designer, Christina Dene. So
yeah, she has a lot of great patterns.
Yes, I've added some to my favorites on Ravelry.
Yeah,
so.
I feel like her style not like I know her, but from Instagram, I feel like her style is similar to yours, like how she dresses. So
yeah. There are a couple of people like.
Well, we wanted to also kind of start off by answering a question, which is, why do you knit?
You should go.
So I'll go first. I knit because I really enjoy just like the meditative quality of it. I like that you can just kind of zone out while you're knitting. I'm like moving my hands. You can like zone out while you're knitting, and it just like really helps me clear my mind, especially if I've had a hard day or for whatever reason. I really enjoy it for that reason. And I like that it's varied, right? So there are some things that you can make that are really complicated if you really want to concentrate, and then there's some things that you can make that are really easy if you just want to knit some stockinette or some garter stitch. So that's the main reason. And I also just really like, I'm kind of fidgety, so I like to do stuff all the time, but I also love to watch TV. So if I knit or cross stitch, and then I can watch TV, but I'm not just like, going crazy sitting still. So those are the reasons that I knit. How about you?
Ditto to everything you just said. I think that a lot has been going on in life, and so I returned to knitting at a critical time with being a caregiver for my mom. I feel like my work as an educator, I'm also a caregiver and I'm holding space for people. And so knitting allows me to hold space for myself. It allows me to slow down, practice some mindfulness. So sometimes I sit just with the knitting, and like Heather said, it's nice to be able to move my hands and actively make and create. And sometimes I'm watching podcasts or catching up on Netflix, etc. So it's just a nice way to unwind. And then I feel like I've always had this creative energy, and whether it's painting or drawing or shopping and fashion, putting colors together. And you can do that endlessly with knitting. So I just enjoy the process of seeing how a piece of fabric comes together, how the colors work together and the pattern comes together, and then just choosing yarn and playing with yarn. So I think it's helpful to engage various senses, and I think that knitting allows for that. And for me, I think that knitting and making and creating has the potential to heal us as individuals, and then just be able to build community and imagine something new. So it's returned to me at much needed time in my life, and opportunity to de-stress. And
yeah, I mean, I also have a pretty stressful job, so I agree that it's definitely helped me get through some hard times, and I love the creative aspect of it too, of being able to alter patterns and choose colors and
you can
all those things that you were saying. Well, you will be able to soon too.
Yes.
It's all about the math. But yeah. Well, speaking of altering patterns, let me talk about what I'm wearing.
Okay.
So this is the Hetty cardigan by Andy Satterland, and she's her design company is called, I think, Untangling Knots, or that's her blog. But Andy Satterland, she designs a lot of kind of retro style cropped pullovers and cardigans, and most of them are like worsted weight or DK weight. So
Want to get the full view.
Yeah, so I'll stand up and show it to you. So it's kind of a little cropped. It comes like right a little bit past the waist. It does button all the way, but since I'm wearing white under it, it'll look kind of weird with the lace to have it all buttoned. And it has set-in sleeves that are picked up from the top down. And it's knit out of Cascade 220 Superwash in the color Provence, which is number 1975, and on size 7 needles. And I knit this several years ago, actually. One of the reasons I brought it today is because I'm going to show another project that I knit with the leftovers from this. But I knit it to go with a dress that I wore to a friend's wedding, and I actually had finished the sweater but not blocked it, and I went to stay with some other friends prior to the wedding, and it's like as soon as I got to their house, I was like, okay, I have to get out the sweater and wash it in your sink and lay it out on the guest room floor. So I did that. Unfortunately, it did dry in time to wear it to the wedding.
Yeah.
But I did modify this, not significantly, but with the sizing. So I have a larger bust, so sweaters are always, if I just knit like the standard size, they don't fit me very well. So I cast on, Andy Satterland, most of her patterns you start by casting on the back and then knitting down to the underarm, and then you cast on the fronts and knit like over top. So what I did is I knit the back in size medium, and then I cast on for the fronts in the 2X size. So I just picked up more stitches than it said to pick up so that I could have the larger size for the fronts. And then the fronts were larger than the back, which actually for most women, the fronts are larger than the back. So a symmetrical knitting pattern for women doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, so I did that. And then when I picked up the sleeves, I picked up the amount for the 1X, and then I just decreased until I got back to the medium because my arms were more of the medium measurement. So it worked out really well because it does, like I said, it does button. It fits pretty much perfectly. It's supposed to have 0 ease. So that was just a little like finagling with the pattern to get the fit that I wanted. Because if I would have knit the 2X for the whole thing, the shoulders would have been way too big for me, and it would have looked like it didn't fit. So
that's a good model example of what we were just talking about knowing your measurements. And I think you've been knitting sweaters and tops for yourself for a while that
Yeah.
you know how to adjust accordingly, right?
Yeah.
I love
Usually.
this.
Yeah.
I would rock this. I'm
Yeah.
kind of eyeballing it like, haven't done lace yet, but this is quite tempting, and I think the color is perfect too.
Yeah.
Definitely in the warm tone, my color scheme as well. I think we both seem to like warm tones.
The autumn colors. It's a good one
Yeah.
for lace. I actually don't really enjoy knitting lace very much,
Yeah.
but because it was worsted weight, it went really fast. And
Did you use a chart for it, or did it have a chart, or?
I don't remember the pattern. I definitely had a chart because I prefer to work from charts. It may
Okay.
have the instructions written out too. It was so long ago that I knit it. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
So,
do you have any other FOs?
nope, this is it. This is my one finished object.
Well,
so
it's a good one.
thank you.
Well, I have a couple others.
What
I'll
about
show
you?
those real quick.
Yeah.
So this is the one that's knit from the same
Oh
yarn.
my god.
So this is the romper I was talking about last time, that all the pieces were all knit. All I literally had to do was sew up this little seam on the side
It's so freaking
and
cute.
put on buttons. So it took me like half an hour.
Stop the madness.
So this is the Mio romper, which is designed by Pippi Eve. It's also knit out of the Cascade 220. One thing I really love using up scraps. It makes me so happy.
Yes.
And
Waste
then
not, want
here's the
not.
buttons for the little crotch buttons. So anyway, I just knit this up real quick. I mean, I started it 2 years ago, November 25th, 2017, according to
That's
Ravelry.
pretty much exactly 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
And I probably had the whole thing knit by December of 2017, and it's just been sitting waiting to get seamed.
Why, Heather?
Yeah.
Why?
And the buttons came from Anthropology used to make these pants that I loved called Paperboy pants. They were like chinos in all different colors. So these are the extra buttons that came with those. I just saved them, and I thought they went really nicely color-wise with this.
That is so freaking cute.
So,
I love the color. I mean, that
Yeah.
color is killing me.
So
Who's it for?
I don't know. I think that's why. I think I was knitting it for a particular baby 2 years ago that is
And now it's like
a toddler,
it'll
and
just
then I
sit for,
exactly.
What stitch is this? I love this stitch.
That is seed stitch. So knit one, purl one, but then you come back and do it the opposite way on the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think seed stitch is really gorgeous.
Yeah.
I had started a top in seed stitch. That one's sitting, so we'll see if
Oh,
I
that's
return
right.
to it.
It's
so
really
cute.
it's really nice for a top. So yeah, definitely
Yeah,
you should
yeah.
think about returning to it because
Yeah.
yeah.
Wonderful. And you have another finished object,
And my other
don't you?
FO is also
Okay.
a baby. This is for a particular baby that has not been born yet, but it's the blanket's done.
It's ready.
So this is the Hap blanket, and it's really big. So I will just
You can cover me up. It's
Yeah.
all good.
so
More important to see the blanket.
it's probably like 3 feet square. So it's the Hat Blanket by Isolde Teague, and it's from the Whimsical Little Knits collection. I think her first Whimsical Little Knits collection. It's quite an old pattern. But I made it out of Queensland Connect Collection United, which is a cotton wool blend. So this actually dried really fast, I think, because it was the cotton wool blend. This is knit in Queensland Connection United in the colors Cocoa, which is the brown, Dove, which is the white, and Sapphire is the blue. And this also made me really happy because I used up pretty much all of these colors that I had in my stash. And it's knit on size 9 needles, and I held the yarn double because it's a sport weight yarn, and the pattern called for Aran weight. And I used up so much of the white that I actually, and I don't even know where, I could not find where it is, but on the very, very last like 20 stitches, I had to knit the last white in just one strand instead of two so that I could make it all the way. But you can't, it would take us forever to find it. Yeah, so I'm really happy with this. I feel like it's going to be a really good weight of blanket for our climate.
Yeah.
For the baby's going to be born in March, so
Perfect.
yeah.
You're all prepared for it.
Yeah.
Nice. Another finished object.
I did make a few, oops, my bracelet's stuck in my sweater. I did make a few modifications to make it a little bit bigger than the pattern called for, and those are all on my Ravelry page.
Cool. Oh, and where can we find you on Ravelry?
I'm Heather T on Ravelry, Heather Tee.
And didn't we just start a group?
We did start a Ravelry
Knit State
group.
of Mind. You can find us as a group on Ravelry. And I'm Wanda Watt on Ravelry, WANDAWAT.
So yeah, we have our Ravelry group. We're posting all of our show notes over there, so come check us out.
Come say hello and introduce yourself. All right, so whips. I have some whips. Haven't made a ton of progress, but I think last time we podcasted, I showed my Union Street Shawlette by Lavanya Patricella. And so I was working, there are 4 sections. I was working on section 3. And so I have finished, you can see that? I finished section 3. So this is section 1. It's pretty much all, what is that? Stockinette? Garter. Mm-hmm. Tell me which one. Garter. Yeah. This is garter stitch, section 1. And then section 2 is the 2-color brioche. And I mentioned last time, this is knit with the Feisty Fibers sock and lichen and lace sock weight. And then section 3 is this cream color back to stockinette. So that's all done. And now I'm on the last section, section 4, which returns to the brioche. And I'm using the, which one is this? The Feisty Fibers, the grayish color. And then I'm bringing in
that beautiful gold.
This gold, and I'm so excited. I decided to add in the gold. I think it'll give this nice pop of color. And it's just going to be a bunch of increases on here. I have restarted section 4. This is the 3rd time. And I think I've picked it up in the last 3 days. And I've restarted it 3 times, and I think I'm going to rip it out again.
No, it looks fine. What's wrong with it?
And start it again. So, okay, actually, maybe we could workshop this. I figured out today what I was doing wrong. It's, if you haven't brioched in a while, and for me, I kind of forgot that when you do the knit brioche stitch, you have to, and then you do the slip one with the yarn over. You have to bring the yarn to the front when you do the slip one yarn over. And I had forgotten about that. And I figured that out today. And so now I have that correct, but then I counted my stitches. I could probably problem solve. I'm supposed to have 275 stitches and I have 273 stitches. So I could probably figure out how to cast on 2 additional stitches and maintain the appropriate brioche. So it's that or rip it out and start over again.
Did you forget an increase maybe, like down in this section?
Could that be something? I had a feeling I was off because something was happening on the ends. And there was a point when I thought I was solving the problem by knitting 2 together, and I think I created a problem that wasn't a problem. That's what happens when you get a little anxious as a knitter. You start creating problems when there aren't any problems. So I think that's what happened. So I'll decide. But I'm loving the gold in there. It's going to be so cute, and I can't wait to finish. Hopefully it'll be done by the next time we podcast.
Yeah.
Fun with brioche.
It's going to look great. I mean, even if you do have to rip it out, it's only like 2 or 3 rows, right?
It's not the end of the world. Yeah. I've ripped it out twice already, so I know what I'm getting myself into if I decide to rip it out again. But again, Lavanya Patricella makes brioche knitting seem so clear and easy, and I can follow her directions when I start getting the hang of it. You can, technical difficulties picking it back up, but I can make it happen.
Yeah. I do find the edge stitches on brioche when you're increasing really tricky because I'm making plumpy. And I haven't worked on it in months, but part of the reason I'm actually making it out of scraps, and it's just like so many ends, I got kind of overwhelmed. But I have had to rip out because I haven't had the right amount of stitches, and it's always been because I missed an increase on one of the sides. I think it's those side increases. Fortunately, I have a lifeline in there. I put the lifeline in right after I finished section 3 because I knew, I'm returning to that brioche. So need a little safety net here. But yeah, it's fun. I can't wait to be done. Nice. You'll be done. You'll be done as soon as you get going on that brioche. You'll just
Yeah.
cruise right through it because brioche has such a rhythm to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? At the same time, I'm learning that it's about the journey of
Mhm.
knitting. I've had to convince myself of that since this will be the third time I'm ripping that out.
Well, speaking of ripping things out,
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I'm telling this was not intentional.
some of you might have seen this on Instagram, but last week I was all like, "Oh, it's gonna be fine. The gauge is gonna be fine." I didn't do a gauge swatch. Well, I finished. It only took me like maybe 2 hours after our last podcast, and I finished my Lilanau sweater. And it was so big. I mean, it was like gigantic. It was for like a 6'5" tall man. It was not. it was too big. So I just ripped the whole thing out. I mean, there was like nothing else I could do because I really want the sweater. So anyway,
Wait, you ripped the entire thing
I ripped
out?
the whole thing out. So
Oh my gosh.
So before I get into the story, so as a reminder, this is the Lilanau sweater by Melinda Bernardi of French Press Knits. And here's what it looks like. I'm knitting it out of Rowan Pure Wool Superwash Worsted in the colorways Red Currant and Olive. And I mean, it's a really easy knit. So it's not like the end of the world that I had to rip it out, but it is a lot of knitting because it's a, full-size sweater.
Yeah.
But when I ripped it out, previously I wasn't that happy with how the lice stitches were looking. Like I thought the lice stitches were looking a little sloppy. And so I just took it as, like you're saying, it's the process. And I was like, I can make the lice stitches look better.
Yeah.
And this is what the floats look like now. So you can see they're much more even than they were before.
Yeah, that looks good. Those colors do work really well together.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
So I'm happy with it.
When did you rip it out and cast it back on?
So I ripped it out maybe like 2 or 3 days after our last podcast, so like a week and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
I've been off work all week this week, so I've had some time. So I ripped it out, and then I have both of the sleeves knit already. So I re-knit the sleeves first to measure the gauge, and then when I figured out that the gauge was right this time, I'm working on the body. So once I should be able to join for the body pretty soon, and or for the yoke, and hopefully have it finished before It's looking Christmas.
Good. Have you tried on the body? Or you think it's good to go this time?
The gauge is definitely better enough that it's definitely going to fit in it this time,
Yeah, I can tell the difference too.
Yeah. And it actually looks better. It's a little bit tighter gauge, and so I think it's, all in all, it's just going to be better, so it's worth it. But these are size 5 now, Carbon's needles, and I'm using size 4 for the ribbing.
Nice. Yeah. Did you have the sleeves done last time?
I did. I had the sleeves done, and I was like right here. I had just joined for the yoke. So I basically, and then I did finish it actually, and then I tried it on and it was too big. So then
It's for the process.
It's
all about the process. Long-term gratification.
Long-term. And I just lost my stitch marker. Oh, there it is. You have a couple works in progress, right?
Yeah, I'm trying. So, what do I want to share? I haven't made much progress on this, but I'm picking it back up. These are, oh gosh, do I remember what size needle? I think these are US 1 needles back to my bamboo needles, and I had switched to metal, and I'm liking being back on bamboo. I feel less crampy with the bamboo needles. But these are a pair of socks. I don't know if you can see the pattern very well. It's the morning coffee socks using Malabrigo sock yarn. I love Malabrigo. It's become a staple yarn for me, a go-to yarn for me. And these socks I casted on 60 stitches. They're a ribbing pattern. Heather suggested I use a ribbing pattern because they are a gift for a 14-year-old boy, so his feet are still growing. And I'm trying to get them done in time for Christmas. So it's just a pretty simple ribbing pattern. I realized after I started working it that it's very similar to the pair of socks that I knit for his dad, actually. And what I'm trying to decide, I have the pattern.
Can I see it? If I stick my hand in it, maybe we can see.
Oh yeah, you're skillful like that. So this is the pattern. The morning coffee sock.
Very well, but yeah,
it's all good.
Yeah.
By Kay Litton. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to add in some yellow, maybe at the toe or the heel flap, add in some yellow. I was considering it when I first got the yarn. I forgot to do it at the top. So we'll see. And then we were deciding if they will be his Cal socks because we're out here in the Bay Area, University of California, Berkeley, or the Warrior socks. There's a similar color, but we're often joking about how he's wearing Cal gear and we're kind of a Stanford Cardinal household, but whatever.
Well, he's just because I am a Cal alum, so he's just supporting me, basically.
Well, there you go. There you go. That works too. So I don't know, should I just all navy or add in some yellow for a little flavor? We'll see what happens.
I mean, it could be cool also to do just like a little stripe around the toe. You know, like a little stripe before the toe maybe, or
Okay, I can play with that. I saw someone posted on Instagram earlier today, Dawn Landix had posted a vanilla sock that she made, but she used a pattern, I think it was the Killig pattern, I can't remember, so don't quote me. She used the pattern just on the toe, and it was a little bit of color work.
I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, I could buy this pattern just to add in that color work with the yellow on the toe, and it was on the heel flap as well. So I might bite off of Dawn. So we'll see what happens. I'll update you all as I make some progress. So,
yeah. No, I did see that, and I think those were a pattern not by her, but by a different designer, because I immediately followed that designer.
Yes, it's by another designer. I think the designer's name is Yuka. I went on Ravelry and followed them and added those socks to my favorites. But maybe we'll just add it in the show notes so that you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes.
What about you? Do you have any other works
I
in
have
progress?
2 other works in progress. So, and both of them are also using up leftovers because I love to do that. So these are the Grove mittens. I just have the left one done and I still need to make the right one. So this is an older pattern that's been out for a while and I keep kind of eyeing it, and I finally had this leftover Knit Picks City Tweed DK in the color Obsidian, and I thought it would be perfect for this. So,
I love those. Can I try it on?
Try it on.
Oh my god. And because this is the style I like, with these like the lines and
the twisted stitches.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it's I used US 4 needles for the cuff and US 6 needles for the body. It's a twisted rib, so it pulls in quite a bit. So that's a pretty big size needle for me to use with DK yarn, but because it pulls in so much. And then this is the yarn. It's left over from a sweater that I made earlier this year.
Those are so freaking cute.
So it's I think I don't remember if I said it's a Jared Flood pattern. And I'm not sure if it was he wrote the pattern before he had Brooklyn Tweed, the yarn company, or after, but there's all kinds of different yarn recommendations. But this is Knit Picks City Tweed DK.
Oh, go Knit Picks.
Can't go wrong. And then the last thing I have, excuse me while I go get
Are those for you, Heather?
Yeah, those are for me, I think. I don't actually have any mittens, or I have one pair. I mean, we don't really need to wear them that often, but...
Yeah. Ooh, but I love those. I might have to make them.
Yeah, and it's super... I mean, the chart is... I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of cables.
Yeah.
But once you... I had to look at the chart the whole time, but once I kind of figured out the pattern to it, I wasn't like getting lost. At the beginning, it was like every row was taking a long time, but...
For now, I'll add them to my favorites.
Yeah. No, you could definitely do it. I mean, it's...
And I like the
hard.
tweed yarn as well. Yeah. It's perfect for those.
And there's also, you can make them with worsted weight and they come out a little bit bigger. So the DK ones fit me pretty perfectly, but if I were making them for someone with larger hands, I would just use worsted weight yarn. Yeah.
Really cute.
So my last...
Oh my God, you're just making me so jealous today.
My scrappy socks. So actually I'm going to show you these first. So I really enjoy when I make socks, I only use about 2/3 of the ball usually because, you know, I wear a women's size 8 shoe, so I don't have super big feet. So I like to make socks with the leftovers. So this is a pair that I made previously. This is a Sauber ball in the color Fluspet, and then just some like random cream colored yarn that I don't know where it's from that I had left over. So what I do is I cast on, I do the rib, and then I just knit a straight tube, and then I do the toe, and then at the end I go back and put in an afterthought heel. So I just measure how long. That way I can use up all of the yarn.
Yep, that's smart.
So I have a couple pairs of these that I've done with, and usually like these I made my mom a pair in this yarn, and then I wanted to make some for myself with the leftovers. So I'm doing that again.
I love those colors.
And this is Neighborhood Fiber Company. Studio sock in the color Federal Hill, which is leftover from a sweater I finished earlier this year. And the kind of bluish color is the Silver Leaf color from Madeline Tosh. It's Twist Light. Yeah, so I'm just going to do the same thing. I split it up into 2 equal size balls, and then I'll just knit until the silver or the gray is gone, and then put on the toe and go back and put in the heel. So.
And you're knitting those 2 at a time, right? How do you like knitting the socks 2 at a time?
I like it because I've had some problems lately with the gauge on my socks being different. So like if I knit one sock and I'm stressed out, and then I knit the other sock and I'm relaxed, they'll come out like different sizes.
Yeah.
So if I knit them 2 at a time, they come out the same size.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I like it for that. It's not as portable, but
it's not so bad though, right? Yeah.
So anyway, that's my last project, and this is US 0 carbons.
Is that your preferred? Okay, got it. Yeah.
So yeah, I usually knit on zeros unless it's a thicker yarn, and then I'll use a 1.
Yeah. Fun times.
Yeah. Do you have any other?
I'm going to share one more. I picked this back up this last week, and I'm kind of mid-row. I hate when I do that, but I referenced this in the last podcast. This is the... let's just hold it up first so you can see what's going on here.
Peek over the top.
Okay. So this is the 4 Points Baby Blanket by Pearl Soho. I started this maybe about a year ago or a little less than a year ago. And I knit the 3 squares, 3 triangles pretty much right away. And then it's just been sitting for a little while. The reason why I first started this was it was supposed to be a gift for a friend. She had a baby girl, and I didn't finish it on time, and so it was like, there's no need to rush through making this, so I cast it on a couple of other projects. But then I said, you know, I can pick this back up. I'm trying to finish projects before casting on more projects, and so my goal is that this is an easy knit. I can sit and watch TV. I actually picked this back up when the fam and we were sitting down to watch, get this, Lord of the Rings, the first one, I can't remember what it is, the extended version. As if Lord of the Rings isn't already long enough, we decided to watch the extended version. And so I picked this up for some easy knitting. And I actually saved my favorite of the 4 colors for last, this darker purple. So to get through the last section, you know, there's some excitement about seeing such a beautiful color knit up. But I started working on this, and then I honestly got a little bored during the movie, put it down, and picked the shawl back up and finished the section 3 on that shawl. But it'll be nice to, I think this is low-hanging fruit, so it'll be nice to just kind of work on this and get it done. I'm so close. So maybe this will be, actually, do I want to say that on camera? That maybe this will be a finished object by our next episode.
Maybe, or by January, right?
But yeah.
Over winter break, maybe
Yeah,
you'll have some time.
Yeah, I'll have more time.
And for those of you who haven't seen this pattern before, you start with one wedge and then you pick up along. And so you're like always starting from the center point of the triangle, which is, it's called the 4 points blanket.
Yeah,
right?
the 4 points blanket, if I didn't mention this. And this is also Pearl Soho yarn. It's their linen quill yarn. And I think it's nice. I think it's a good sturdy yarn for a baby. So I'm going to be on Heather's level where I'll have just something already made for a baby and ready to go when it's time.
Yeah.
So friends,
start
have
busy.
some.
We've got presents for you.
Have some fun. And that's it.
Nice. I did put mine, I made one of these,
yeah.
and I did put it in the washing machine before I sent it just to see what would happen. So I did wash it in the washing machine, but I did not dry it, and it seemed to be okay. So, yeah.
That's good for me to know.
Yeah.
It's nice when Heather finishes projects before I do, because then I just kind of learn from her experience and her mistakes.
Let's be honest. All right, I've got a couple cross stitch things before we
it's
talk about
the
future
cross stitch
plans.
segment. I think this is becoming a thing.
Get my other stuff over here too. So this is for Zoe and Ingrid, which is our in real life knitting friend Emily. Her daughters, they watched last time and they loved this portion.
Yay.
So Zoe and Ingrid, this is for you. I finished of my Brooks Books Advent Animals, number 19, the lion. Emily said that's what they said when I showed up last time.
I think that's like a natural reaction.
And this is number 20, the owl. Number 20 was a lot of white.
These
it was
are
kind of
so
boring.
much fun.
But yeah, they are so cute. So I'm working on the next one right now, which is an elephant. And then I brought, because these will probably be gone as Christmas gifts. I'm not sure when we'll podcast next, but these are from the Lizzie Kate Tiny Tidings patterns. There's a whole, she has like 30 of these booklets. So these are from number 27, number 15, and number 18, and I'll put that in the show notes, but just some little, I'll probably make them into like little pillows or ornaments or something. So, and they have some little beads on them. I don't know if you can see that, but like right here, oh, that's upside down. There's some little beads there that for the holly. So that one says Merry and Bright.
Oh, that's so fun.
These don't have the beads on them yet, but that's just Merry. Feliz Navidad. I was listening to this song today when I was decorating. And Joyeux Noël. So, yeah, they're just fun. They only take a couple days to make, and they're nice little gifts.
Yeah. I mean, I love seeing your cross stitch work. It's just makes me think about all of the things that we can make and create. So, nice.
Yeah. So, future plans.
I don't have any. I'm sticking with what I have. It's so funny because we were talking about making, and you'll share about the cowl in a moment, right? And then I stopped and I said, I have one thing in each category right now, and I'm content with that. So I have the shifty sweater. I don't know when I'm returning to that. I have a pair of socks. I have a blanket, and I have a shawlette. So I think once I finish one of those, I'm aiming for the shawlette, then I will cast on, I talked about this last podcast, the night shift. So I was really excited, and I was probably going to cast it on the next day, and then something told me to just pick up the shawlette and finish that, and then I'll probably cast on the night shift shawl after that. So.
Nice. Well, that'll be nice winter knitting too, because it's worsted weight and it can keep you warm while you're knitting on it. And,
absolutely. And lots of colors, so I like playing with the color combinations. What about you?
Yeah, everything you have going is pretty colorful, because the shifty has like different colors in it.
The shifty does the 4 points blanket, the shawlette, and just the socks. And I might add some yellow to the navy there. We'll see what happens.
Go Bears! So I have a couple things for future plans. So the first one is... So, this is my mom has a question for you. Okay. So, My mom watched our last episode.
Is that pom pom though?
This is a pom pom. Yeah.
I'm getting a little excited. I saw pictures
okay, so
online.
just because
Oh,
you're
is that
excited,
the old one?
this is an old issue.
Oh, okay.
This is from, it's number 28. I don't remember when it's spring 2019, so it's a few months old.
Did you bring the new one?
No, I forgot. I'll bring it next time. I'm sorry. So my mom, I wanted to knit my mom a sweater, and I told her. So this is the spring 2019 pom pom, so it must have been sometime early this year. I'm like, oh, I'll knit you a sweater for Christmas. So I've tried to knit her a few other sweaters, and it's really hard to knit for another person because that doesn't live near you because they can't try it on, and so they came out like not quite the right size. So she sent me the measurements of her favorite sweater and told me what she wanted, which was she wanted a colorwork yoke, but a raglan style. So we decided on this pattern, which is called Adiantum. And you can see it has like the colorwork. Yeah.
That is so similar.
Yeah.
That is actually, yes, the yoke,
yeah,
the sleeve,
yeah,
and the bottom.
So
It's a similar concept.
You and my mom will be twinsies, and even more so because this is the yarn.
Oh, stop.
It's Biche Bouche, Le Petit Lamb's Wool in the color. This is beige and dark red.
Oh my God. Your mom and I twinning it.
Well, so this is, you're her favorite daughter now, just FYI, because, so she says to me, she goes, I watched your video, and she's like, I noticed that you didn't talk about my sweater on there. And I was like, well, yeah, because I've really been working on it, because what happened is, I did do a gauge swatch, and I think the gauge just didn't come out right, and so I had kind of put it aside, because I was going to have to go down to much smaller needles, and I was frustrated with it, so I just put it aside. I don't even know where the swatch is. I think I threw it out.
Oh, wow.
I was so
you were
irritated.
really frustrated.
Yeah. So, anyways, so she goes, well, does Wanda tell people she's going to make them things and then not make them? So I said, I'll ask her. So from my mom, do you tell people?
Wow, your mom is putting me on the spot right now. But you plan on making it.
I do.
It's a delayed project.
Right,
Did you give her a timeline? Now that's the thing. What I do is people tell me they want something, and I kind of just like let it sit and say, oh yeah, I might make that, but I don't say anything else about it. So they have no expectations about when they're going to get it, or even if they're going to get it.
Right.
But I love just kind of showing up with it in the moment, and they feel appreciated, and they know I had been thinking about them all along, because with the knit projects, it takes a while, right? So you kind of started it sometime around, or it depends on the project, but they mentioned it and you didn't just kind of whip it up overnight.
Right.
So
I mean, I did tell her for Christmas, so my goal now is I am going to do another gauge swatch this week, and I'm just gonna get it started, Mom.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to get it. So it is bottom up. So I'm hoping to get it up to the underarms. By Christmas, so that she can try it on and make sure it fits.
Yeah.
Because that has been an issue in the past. So.
That's smart.
Anyway,
That's a
but
good one.
yeah, it's just a gorgeous sweater. I mean, pom pom.
That's a cute one. Oh my God.
This issue has a whole
and
bunch
that's
of really
fingering,
pretty ones.
right? That's fingering.
It's fingering. Yeah. I actually knit this
that's
hat
so
also.
cute.
Yeah. But I have that at home.
That's that brioche right there.
So
it's coming, Mom. She's going to make it.
It's coming.
And she just mentioned it on the podcast, so we'll all hold her accountable to making it. Yeah. Nice. Anything else? Future?
Yeah,
projects?
so my other thing is I really want to try to get a bunch of my whips finished up. So I have about, now I'm down to like 18 or 19 projects that have been started that aren't finished.
18 or 19.
So we were talking before we started filming, and we want to start a knit along. And the knit along is going to be to clear your needles in 2020. So my goal is to get down to having just one project of every type by the end of next year, and I think that's definitely possible. So it's going to be #ClearTheNeedles2020, and we'll put that in the show notes. And I'm just going to try to start like picking a project and working on it 30 minutes a day until I finish it, and then I'll start a new one. So I actually already started. There's an app you can get called Tiny Decisions. And some of the floss tube cross stitch videos on YouTube that I watch, a lot of cross stitchers use this app to help them decide what to work on. So I download it and I put in all of my whips, and it gives you kind of like a roulette wheel. And,
what?
Yeah. So I spun, and then I decided whatever comes up, I'm going to work on it 30 minutes a day till it's done. So actually I spun and Lilanu came up.
Okay.
So I've been working on this every day.
That's perfect. Yeah.
And then once that's done, I'll clear that off. I'm not going to add any new projects in. So only whatever I put in this week.
So do you currently have all 18 or 19, all of your whips in there?
Yes.
And so I'm just trying to get this straight. So then you'll spin the wheel, clear one out at a time, maybe one at a time.
Yeah.
And will you cast on anything new this next year, or?
Yeah, I probably will.
Okay, so we can cast on something new.
Cast on something new.
But you have to keep in mind that by the end of 2020, you have just one of each category of project type going.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my goal. I mean, if you wanted to completely clear your needles, you could do that. But for me, I do knit all the time, so it's unlikely that I'll ever have completely nothing on the needles.
One more question.
Yeah.
Does completely frogging a project count as part of clearing the needles?
That counts, because I actually frogged 2 projects this week. When I was putting everything into the tiny decisions, I was like, I'm never going to finish this. I don't want to finish it. And I tore it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that sounds really reasonable.
Yeah.
Decide what you want to knit up and finish, and frog what you don't think you need anymore. What no longer brings you joy. As
Marie Kondo would say.
That's
really? You know, the life-changing magic of tidying up.
Yeah. So we're going to Marie Kondo our new
Yeah, exactly.
Our craft projects. This goes for crocheting. And
crocheting, cross-stitching. Yeah.
Cool.
So clear the needles 2020.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Hashtag clear the needles 2020.
So join us. Hashtag it so we can follow the hashtag and see all the things that you're finishing up.
And are we going to get a chat group page going on Ravelry?
Yeah, I'll start a thread for that.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Like, what is it? A thread?
Yeah, so maybe what I'll do is, if you want to go in the thread and say how many whips you're starting out with at the beginning of the year or end of 2019, beginning of 2020, and then we can kind of keep track.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love this one.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
Well, before we go, it was Wanda's birthday last week, so I have a present for you.
Oh my god. I'm a little anxious. Nice wrapping.
That's a bento bag from Making Magazine, the Patterns in Making Magazine.
It's yarn. Lolo did it. Everyday sock. Look at those colors. Is that? It's like a grayish white gray with the red and the greens. Super cute.
It's hippo for Christmas, and you were talking about maybe doing some Christmas knitting, so I thought,
yes,
yeah,
I need some Christmas socks. Oh wait, I can knit for myself.
You can, yeah.
I feel like I need to be knitting more things for people. I was debating that if I should be knitting stuff. And then I have some these are dishcloths.
Yes,
right?
they are, yeah.
Some dishcloths in my favorite color.
Yes.
Got the yellow. I've been wanting some of these, and I said I was going to knit some for myself, but now I don't have to.
You don't have to.
Thanks,
they last forever, so you'll have those forever.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so excited. Thank you.
So happy birthday.
That's really thoughtful. Yeah. And I get to make some Christmas socks.
I had 2 of those, so I was like, I don't know. Well, actually, I do know why I bought 2, because I thought I was going to make a sweater, but I don't know what world I was living in that 2 skeins of sock yarn would make a sweater for me. So I was looking at it the other day, and I was like, you know what?
Hippo for Christmas.
Yeah.
Super cute.
Yeah.
Now I feel like I have to cast on some socks. I need to cast them on because I want them for Christmas. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's episode 2 in a bag. How about that?
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
So you can follow us on Instagram. We're at Knit State of Mind, at Heather T3, and at Zest in Class.
Yes, and we will be back on in another 2 to 3 weeks. I think we're on the roll, and we're coming up on vacation and the holidays. So we hope to have some more fun knits and cross stitch and crafts to share with you all. And come check us out, chat with us on Ravelry. We're here to build community. So Until next time.
Until next time.
All right. Bye everyone.